this time, I want to say that we have been in battle with Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited. And when the people of Bayelsa State came and said they don't want any governor to handle it, they want me to handle. I told them my condition when I was invited to Traditional Rulers Council. I said the only way I will take on this battle is that there will be no violence. If I'm to handle this case against Shell, nobody is going to engage himself in violence. Once that is agreed to, then I will handle it. I remember that a commission of inquiry was called in 2003 in the National Assembly. And from that time till now, we have been in this battle. There has not been any single violence all this while. And Bayelsans, Ijaw people have kept faith with the agreement they reached with me that there will not be any violence. But in this process, we have been undermined. We have been thrown overboard illegally, both by certain agents of government and the agents of Shell. The Commission of Inquiry in the National Assembly specified that 1,247 indigenes of Bayelsa State died due to oil pollution. There was unmitigated outpour of cholera, diarrhea, and all sorts of waterborne diseases, and people died. The recorded figures were recorded by NNPC, by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. The death of the people was recorded by the National Assembly. From the House of Representatives, it was transferred to Senate, and the Senate also said 1,247 Bayelsans died as a result of oil pollution. Now, I've never seen a place where blood will be shed, and it's known that the blood is shed, and yet the law enforcement agencies, and in this case the courts, will now shut a blind eye to that kind of thing. The Ijaw people have kept faith with the agreement that there will not be any violence, just because I demanded for that. When when the National Assembly said the Shell was guilty, the people died, the environment was degraded, and therefore they had to pay us $1.5 billion. It was published all over the world. But the Shell went through the courts and said that the National Assembly cannot give a legislative judgment. In their opinion, they said that the National Assembly cannot award any amount of money. We say, all right, if the National Assembly cannot, let's go to the court to enforce the award. We went to the Federal High Court, and the Federal High Court said in its ruling, if two parties submit themselves to a non-judicial body, and that non-judicial body takes a decision one way or the other, so long as the two parties agree to it, that none of the parties can reside. That was the judgment of the Federal High Court. Therefore, they said, Shell should pay us the Ijaw people $1.5 billion. We did not know that Shell had their own judges in the Court of Appeal. They went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal set aside the judgment. They said it was by originating summons. And by this originating summons, the National Assembly cannot, even though the Federal High Court has now determined that that amount was right, they said because the National Assembly had said they should pay us that money, they should annul the award. They did. And on the 20th, on the 22nd, 2013, based on the ruling of the appeal court, we went to the Federal High Court again. This time, not by originating summons, but by writ of summons. Let the court determine the amount. But between the time the first award was made by the National Assembly and the time we're suing, several spillages had occurred in all the 245 communities of Bayelsa State. They called me again. And look, parent, you have been in this battle. Come and follow up this case. We said this time around, because of the so many spillages in Bayelsa State, we had to put all of them together and went to the court. We made a graphic tabulation of all the spillages and all the people that died, all the names of the people that died and their families, all the women, all the men, all the children were graphically detailed, stamped by the National Assembly. House of Reps, Senate stamped. We went to court. Shell had no answer. The documentary evidence was too overwhelming. They had no answer. Their lawyers had no answer. They said the only thing we can do is to stop this litigation. Because of that litigation, transfers of judges were made overnight, and they brought in Shell judges, judges that were going to do the bidding of Shell. And I remember that in order not to complicate matters, some lawyers told me, they said, withdraw the first case. Before we filed the case, we had withdrawn the case before on the 10th of April. Then we filed a new case on the 13th of April, 3 days before. But what did the judges in the appeal court said? In Port Harcourt, who are agents, I'm going to mention the name of the judges. We are warriors.
Yes.
I'm going to mention the name of the judges, and we know that they were paid $10 million each. They said it was better for the judges to earn the $10 million. $50 million was paid out to them than for the Ijaw people to have their legitimate claim of $24.6 billion. It will not stand. It cannot stand. Yes. It must not stand. Yes. We have prepared a letter to the National Judicial Commission, but we agreed in Bayelsa. We said, let the world know the letter that is going to the NJC. In Nigeria, Nigeria has produced great judges. It's only Nigeria that have produced judges that have gone to be chief justice of other countries. In Uganda, in Gambia, in Sierra Leone, Nigerian judges who have excelled. In other words, our complaint is not against the Nigerian judiciary. They are rotten eggs, and we know them. And I'm going to mention their name. names. They are taking $10 million each to try and stage manage and outmaneuver the job people out, but they cannot do it.
Definitely.
We will not agree.
Yes.
These judges, Paul, give me the names of those judges. Quickly, bring the names. You have kept them in your room, in your house.